We're going to Japan in 70 days, and I did quite a bit of research for our trip, so I thought I'd just share where I would recommend staying if you are also planning a trip to Tokyo. So first place that I would recommend if you're after something quite Japanese but also modern at the same time and also a bit luxurious, I'd recommend this hotel here, Onsen Rokan Yuen Shinjuku. It's a really beautiful hotel. It's fairly new. I think it's only been open for a few years. They've got this the most incredible onsen, super beautiful, amazing views. In the onsen, if you go and you come out, you can get ice pops. It's very unique. I've never seen that before. It might not be unique. I've just never experienced that before. But it's super cool. It's on like the back street of Shinjuku. Very cute. You wouldn't even like notice that it was there. It's very modest. Yeah, our room was definitely not that big. Dining room also beautiful, lovely breakfast, very traditional breakfast. You get like your classic like fish, miso soup kind of thing. Would really recommend this place if you're looking for something like that. The only thing with this place was the rooms were quite small, and we stayed here just as soon as we'd arrived in Japan, so we felt quite jet lagged, and it probably wasn't the best place to stay for the first day. It was like nice to have access to the onsen, but the rooms were quite small, so kind of after getting off a flight and then waking up and then being kind of crammed in this room wasn't the best. But I think if you don't mind that kind of thing, and I mean it's so beautiful. This is the kind of area after you come out of the onsen, you kind of go in your yukata, and it's just like really beautiful. Cool, so then my second recommendation would be to stay. You're looking for something maybe more spacious and a bit more functional, but you still have a bit of luxury. By luxury, I mean you still have an onsen. I would recommend the Kandeo Hotel. So I think it's a chain of hotels in Japan. The one I would stay at is either, well actually there's three I think in Tokyo, I believe. I think there's one in Roppongi, Shimbashi and Ueno. And basically, the one in Shimbashi is basically near Ginza, so if you're looking to be like kind of near that area, then that's a good one to stay at. Roppongi I think is a good location. I mean there's shopping and stuff, but that's a bit boring. But the good thing about Roppongi's location is that you can kind of go, it's kind of centrally located, so you can kind of travel easily to Shinjuku, to Shibuya, and I think where it is, it's really close to some really cool neighbourhoods like Ebisu, Nakameguro, Daikanyama, which is my absolute favourite place. So near a little neighbourhood called Azubujuban. If we look on the map here, actually that's probably, we'll make it better, zoom out. Yeah, so you can see, I mean, you're near Tokyo Tower. Yeah, over here you've got Ebisu, Daikanyama, love, Shibuya near here, which I think is really cool. Yeah, also kind of near Shinjuku. So I suppose some places, if you like stay in Ginza, you'll be kind of all the way, let's put in the directions, Kandeo Hotels, Ginza, no not Ginza, Shimbashi. I mean Shimbashi is a really cool area to stay in because it kind of gives you an insight into like Japanese salaryman life, which is quite fun. But yeah, so okay, so it's not actually too bad, 40 minutes walk. I mean you wouldn't really want to walk it, but yeah, you would be over here. So if you stayed in that hotel, you're close to Ginza, closer to like Asakusa. But then yeah, why I think Roppongi is good, I feel like you're kind of in the middle of all of them, whereas it's lots of people either stay in like Shibuya, Shinjuku, and then it makes you like further from the other places. But I think this is a good location because you're close to Ginza, you're close to Shinjuku, Shibuya, and then it's not so far to travel to like Akihabara or Insoji, for example. That's why I do think this area is a good location. However, some people really don't like Roppongi. I used to really not like Roppongi, but I think the location has sort of grown on me as I've realised that there's not really that many, for me, like good hotels to stay at in Tokyo. I don't know why I feel like that, but yeah, in terms of like good price, I do think the Kandeo hotels are like really good value for money because you get a really cool onsen which is really nice to like relax at the end of the day. It's really good also if you've just arrived into Japan after a long flight, because you've got the onsen, you've also got more spacious rooms, you're also really centrally located, so you can like walk around the area, which I think is really good. So yeah, that would probably be my personal favourite within the budget that we've got. The third place I would recommend if you are after something maybe a bit more local, want to experience more of like a local neighbourhood, I would recommend the Hotel Vintage Kagurazaka. Kagurazaka is like a really, really nice neighbourhood. It's actually, I think it's in the Shinjuku ward. Shinjuku City, yeah. Pretty sure it's in Shinjuku ward. So you can see it is there. So yeah, it's still going to take a while to like actually walk to Shinjuku. The reason why, like, lots of people say, oh, it's in Shinjuku. Shinjuku is massive, and I think some people, when they say in Shinjuku, I don't want to call out a certain hotel, but there's a certain hotel which like looks really cool. It's really good price, but it's literally in, I wouldn't say the middle of nowhere, but it's not the middle of nowhere. It's just like in the middle of office blocks, and for me it's just like so dull, and I love Tokyo so much, and I would hate for someone to go there, stay in this place, and then feel like they don't feel how amazing Tokyo is because they're just staying in the middle of a city, in the middle of skyscrapers, and then they walk onto this like huge street where there's like not much going on, and yeah, really wouldn't recommend staying in those kind of areas. I just don't feel like you'll get a feel for what Japan is like, and it's just a very like STEM environment. So with that said, I would really recommend staying if you are really up for that kind of seeing what it's like, seeing what it might be like to live in Japan. Really, really recommend staying in Kagurazaka in this Hotel Vintage. The rooms are really spacious here. My boyfriend and I stayed here last time. We came only for a few nights because we flew back early from somewhere else we were supposed to be staying. So we like just found this. We actually found it on Airbnb, and the rooms were so big. We had two big. We didn't stay in that one, but it was really spacious, really nice. It wasn't like that either, but yeah, really nice. Probably a bit more expensive than some hotels, but I do think it's a really good hotel. And honestly, there's like so many nice cafes near here. We found the most amazing cafe that my friend had recommended, so we didn't find it. My friend recommended it to us. It's really nice. Just like cute independent shops and stuff like that, and like izakayas. It's just a nice high street. Let's see if I can find a photo. Well, let's see. What does, known as Little Paris. Well, there you go. Here's Little Paris. Worshipping the old and new. Take time to get lost. Yeah, there's like loads of little like alleyways you can walk down. It's just like a nice area. So yeah, highly recommend staying there if you're not too fussed on staying in a really touristy area, but kind of quite open to seeing, yeah, more Japanese style neighbourhood. I really recommend this place. Alternatively, if you are a solo traveller, there's also the plan Kagurazaka in this area, which just looks super cool. Yeah, so you can see the price there. It's £50, so it's a bit cheaper. However, I think that probably is actually your own bed. Yeah, so it's kind of expensive, to be honest. Oh no, that's for two people. It is a bit on the expensive side for a hostel, I would say, but it in such a nice area. I think this hotel chain is really nice as well. Really cozy, probably really friendly, and just like a really safe place, I would say, to stay. Because I think Shinjuku probably has a bit of a bad reputation in terms of safety in Japan, even though obviously Japan is very safe. But yeah, this area I feel like would be a really nice area to stay in. If I was a solo traveller, this is probably where I would stay. And then finally, if you want another level of luxury and you also have the budget for it, I would recommend staying at the Hoshinoya Tokyo. It is an incredibly beautiful hotel. I'll actually just is it Hoshinoya Tokyo? Yeah. It looks absolutely amazing. They've basically made it so, I think this is I'm not sure if this is the entrance to each floor, but basically they've laid it out so that each floor is like its own rokkan. So I think there's like a little living room on every floor that the residents who are staying on that floor can kind of go and access that room. So like if you were going there as a big group, you could all just like rent a room on that same floor, and it would be so cool. But they also do like loads of cultural experiences here. So if it's going to be like your first time to Japan, if it's kind of, you don't think you'll probably go again, maybe you're about to have kids, or you're just going into a different phase of your life and you probably won't be able to go back to Japan for a while, and you have the funds for this, I would recommend staying here. It looks absolutely amazing. I would stay here if I could afford it. Equally, I think we'll probably be going back to Japan a few times, so it's not urgent for us to stay here, but I would really recommend. It just looks so nice. The only thing is though, and I think it's important to point out, because a lot of the really nice 5-star luxurious hotels are in quite built up areas. And yes, this is better than the Shinjuku hotel that I was telling you about earlier, the one that I won't mention the name of. However, it's still in a very built up kind of skyscrapery area. I mean, look at that. It's very different from, let's give a Google to Kagorazaka, and I'll show you exactly what that would feel like. Totally different, you can see. Like, it's so different. So I just love this kind of Japanese style streets. I just think it's so cute, and it's just like more interesting to walk around. So personally, I don't even think if you can't afford it, it has its pros and cons, and you're not necessarily missing out on something if you actually don't have the funds for it. If you feel like, oh, I really wanted to go there but I can't afford it, it's not going to be as good because I can't stay there, it will still be as good. You'll have a totally different experience, and to be honest, part of me feels like the experience you'll have in an area like Kagorazaka is, yeah, actually better than what you have in kind of a manufactured environment. So yeah, they are my 5 recommendations for hotels in Japan. There are so many more, however they're not a huge amount more in Tokyo, because I do feel like it's quite hard to find nice hotels. But yeah, those would be my recommendations. I appreciate that most of the ones I've mentioned are sort of over in these areas. To be honest, I haven't mentioned any in like Asakusa or Akihabara. To be honest, I personally wouldn't want to stay in those. Like, I'm personally a lot more interested in Shibuya, Shinjuku. I really like this area in Tokyo. So that's sort of what I look. I have been to Tokyo Skytree once, but not for sightseeing. I think I went to a restaurant near there. Equally, I've never been to Tokyo. I've never like specifically been to Tokyo Tower. So I feel like Asakusa is like a nice day trip, or like a nice place to go in the daytime, but wouldn't necessarily feel the need to stay there. Some people really like that area. I think it's totally up to what you like. I feel like it's my friend went there recently, and I think he said that a lot of places had signs saying like no foreigners, which I feel like is going to be very common in that kind of area, because there are going to be lots of hotels and hostels in that area, because it's very traditional Japanese in terms of its just like design, as you can see. So it's very like, you're in Tokyo when you're there, and Akihabara is just there. But yeah, for me personally, I prefer to stay in this kind of area. Maybe I might even consider staying in Ueno, because I think that's quite a pretty area too, and probably a bit less touristy and a bit more local than staying in an area like Asakusa. But yeah, those are my recommendations.